we talking about today?
I don't know. Welcome back to the Why Aren't You Famous podcast with your hosts, Ellen Cherry and Andrew Grimm. In this ongoing podcast of 24 episodes, we are investigating exactly why it is that neither of us have any chance at fame.
Or love.
Or love, yes. Warmth.
Affection.
Satisfaction.
Fulfillment.
Truth and beauty.
I don't even know. I don't know if I want truth.
You know, I heard as once was broadcast to everybody in the late 80s, early 90s, you can't handle the truth.
The truth.
That was 1992, I think. A Few Good Men.
Yeah, I don't.
Did you ever see that movie?
I didn't see that.
It's like asking somebody from the 80s and 90s, did you ever see the Transformers? Yes. Hello.
I think every time the light shoots out of Tom Cruise's mouth space with those white teeth, like you cannot forget it. Like every time I've seen them, because like at least once in every movie, either grimacing in pain or with that sociopathic smile, like the light just seems to be like.
It just blinds you.
So I know he smiles at least once in that movie.
Oh yeah, he totally does.
Yeah, and it's like, even though Jack Nicholson is on the stand going, "You can't handle the truth," and then it's all of a sudden it's like,
he shines a light on the truth at that
I don't
point.
really know what the movie was about, but I'm assuming it was about lasers.
Oh, you got to go back and rewatch
lasers.
it. Oh my god, it's so good.
Teeth lasers.
It's teeth lasers. Yes, yes.
Okay, so what are we talking about today besides teeth lasers?
Wow, you really don't know?
No, I do.
You know.
Our subject today is ambition.
Yes.
Ambition.
Ambition, yes.
Which is different than goals.
It is different than goals. Well, okay. So, what is the difference between ambition and goals? I'm going to turn your mic down a little bit.
Okay, is my mic too hot? My mic's too hot.
They're both a little too hot.
Just a little bit hot in your headphones. Oh, okay, just. Oh.
There. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so difference between goals and ambitions?
Difference between goals and ambitions are that, and to me, and this may not be the Webster's dictionary definition.
Oh, good God, don't do that. You know how many of my college students were saying, well, you know, Webster's dictionary defines dictionary.com. And I told them, like, I straight up told them, I was like, I will stop reading your paper and use it as litter box filler if you continue to.
Okay, fine. Why don't you define ambition?
No. I want you to define it. No, I just don't want to hear about Webster's dictionary. So go ahead.
No, what I was saying was, I don't think it's according to that because I don't know the definition.
I just don't want the mention of it anymore. Okay.
You guys had a falling out. You and Webster's dictionary had a romance, and now it's over, and you do not want to talk to that person anymore.
Yeah, it keeps telling me to look up rejection. I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? And they're like, I don't know, look it up. I'm like, what?
There's a picture of your face next to it.
It is. So difference between goal and ambitions, yes.
Okay, so ambitions, in my opinion, are aspirations, dreams.
Aren't they the same thing as goals?
Goals.
Aren't your goals and dreams linked together? Don't you dream one day of being able to pay your rent without having to worry about next month's rent?
That's a goal, but that's not my ambition.
Ah.
My ambition, I think, as it has been revealed to me, is to just live in a musical. Like, I want everyone to live in a musical. I want to live in a musical where because there's constantly music running in my head. You're not around me all the time. And if you were, I would be like, we're doing the podcast right now. It's super funny because I know people will listen to this and not realize what we look like.
But when you put that crappy picture of me on the website, everybody knows what I look like.
What crappy picture?
The one where I was giving the thumbs up. That I asked you to take down.
I took it down.
You did not.
Okay, I'll take it down today. I'll take it down today. Give me a better picture and I'll put it up.
She lied to me. She's drinking my coffee.
People are going to stop listening if we don't talk about the subject.
People aren't even listening as it is. Are you kidding me? I mean, I haven't even looked at the views, so I'm not even going to try to suss that part out.
So ambition. Let's just start with this. What are your ambitions as you? Okay. Maybe we should just listen to the essays because
Well,
I
we could
feel
listen to the essays. Just sometimes I think we rush to get to the essays or whatever.
without the
But we're
foreplay.
going to start with your essay today,
Okay,
and
great.
then we'll do mine second.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's a because like when I think of ambition, if I think about the word ambition, there's always this kind of young upstart type of archetype stereotype that comes up, like and ambition has that negative. I think it has a negative connotation to it more often than not because we couple that with somebody who's overly ambitious,
Yeah.
who's willing to cut corners in order to get the construction permit made for the building that will suddenly topple down on top of the old folks' home or
For
whatever.
the purpose of making money.
For the purpose of making money. Yeah.
Oh, and absolutely, it's doubly bad. Not doubly bad, but it's definitely like not a word applied to women. I mean, like ambitious is considered a like sort of very much derogatory term when you call a woman or not encouraged to be ambitious.
Yeah, because ambitious is like ambitches. I mean, like, and I hate that word. I hate the word bitch. I think it's a terrible word. I think it's okay for a verb, but I don't think it's okay
for bitchin'.
Well, no,
We could talk about that because I have recently understood in my own heart that I enjoy saying it in a fun, playful way, but I can do that because I feel like I'm a member of the class that is, member of the gender, not the class, but the gender that is taking that word back.
That's why I enjoy saying honky a lot. I mean, come on.
It's different.
I really like white and empowered, entitled male, cisgendered male. That's my rallying cry.
CGM.
That's ridiculous. Okay, so no, that's true.
So it has a negative connotation.
Ambitious women. Well, I mean, it does, but you can always take it back. I mean, can't you take that word back somehow? Can't you like regain control of the word ambition?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I mean, Madonna had Blonde Ambition tour.
Yep. And I think that she was. I wasn't interested in the music she's been making for the last 10 to 15 years, but the first 15 years of her career, like I adored her. I still adore that work, and everything that she put out was unapologetic.
Sure.
And I just felt like we don't even have to. Why do I even have to say the word unapologetic? Why do we have to start from the assumption that somebody should apologize for being who they are or discovering who they are? And that's like.
No, I'm with you. I mean, but
unless they're terrible racist or like bigot or
no, because
sexist
I think unapologetic works with the context of society. Like there's like a social order that we kind of subscribe to, and when somebody breaks out of that social order, I don't know if we expect them to get right back in line, but in order to
we do because it makes us feel uncomfortable. We have to.
Well, it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable.
I know, but generally people feel uncomfortable, and that's what they're.
Those are people who are illiterate.
No, it's true. But isn't that what we're struggling with politically? Is that there's people that are feeling uncomfortable. They're like, I'm uncomfortable with the idea that people have gay sex. And so I want to stop it. I'm deeply uncomfortable with it. I'm so uncomfortable I can't even address it. I'm going to blame it on a God. That the reason that I feel uncomfortable for it.
Because God really cares about that. I mean, I haven't talked to God in a while, and he stopped talking to me.
Yes. It's probably for the best.
Probably. That's okay. I got your back, God. Yes. It's totally cool.
This is the most rambling conversation.
It's not rambling at all. We've defined 3 different words dealing with ambition.
Okay.
You think it's rambling because you haven't had your Chobani yogurt yet. What'd you get, raspberry?
I did get raspberry.
Yeah.
Well, it was
It's got seeds in it.
But here's how you think as a musician on a budget. You look at the Chobani yogurts that you want, which are blackberry and cherry, and those are
more expensive.
4 for $5.
Uh-huh.
These ones come in a pack of 4 for $3.99.
Right.
So they're like 10 cents cheaper.
But what are you going to do when one of those raspberry seeds gets stuck in your gum and then causes some sort of irritation? Then you got to go to the dentist, and then they're like, "Sorry, you got to take out your jaw." Yeah. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do then, Miss Thrifty Shopper?
I'm going to be so glad I have Medicaid because I'm going to get awesome
Well,
care.
I believe they're going to be scaling that back.
I know.
Just in time. You can look it up on the internet, but you can't anymore.
No, we're done.
Because now there's no net neutrality.
This is truly just going to be a conversation between you and me that we taped.
That we taped. No one will be able to hear it because you can't stream it for that much. All right, let's get into your essay, and then
Okay.
we'll come back and do some chatting.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. There we go.
When I was younger, my ambition was to be a race car driver or a nun. I have evidence of this because I wrote about it in my diary. I became neither, and so these ambitions remain yet unrealized, but looking at my younger self from all of these decades later, what I see in those hopes are two elements of my personality that seem to be equal parts innate and acculturated. A desire for excitement that plays with the illusion of control, and a desire to be subservient, accommodating, and pleasing to others. Upon further reflection, I am scanning my life and thinking if I have ever had any other so clearly defined ambitions. Back then, I never really pictured myself as an adult, doing a job or having a career. I observed classmates and siblings who seemed to always have a more direct path that they were following, as if they had magically learned how to make decisions in a way that I simply could not. This was confusing. It has always seemed like other people had a special skill or a superpower to just plow ahead, focus completely on a goal without confusion or becoming distracted by small details along the way. Or maybe it was just that they were better at accepting what it means to choose. I knew I wanted to experience falling in love, but it wasn't as though I set out to do that with a plan, schedules, or even that as a goal. It was just something I felt. I've always known that I've wanted to see things and lead an interesting life and do my best to be kind. And again, I've been fortunate because that seems to be a wonderful side effect when one is involved in the particular form of hustling that I stumbled into. But I certainly didn't say aloud or write it down or even think in capital letters, I want to have an interesting life. When I started playing guitar in my early 20s and then started combining my mediocre poetry with melody and accompaniment, I never once thought of it as a career. I got married and I got a job, actually a series of jobs, all in different places. I worked as a temp, I worked in a factory in New Orleans for a bit, I worked in offices, I waited tables, I babysat children and dogs, I taught myself graphic design, I delivered flowers. The longest job I had was as a part-time secretary for an accounting firm. And all the while, I played guitar and I produced recordings of my songs every 2 or 3 years. I planned CD release parties and I played shows and I made art. I feel I floated along like that until 2004 when I got downsized from my last real office job. After that, I took some unemployment from the state of Maryland for a few months. I continued to play shows and pay taxes, but it started to become clear that maybe I should make some sort of plan. Maybe it was time to sit down and consider if I had any new ambitions and create one of those overarching plans. You know, the 2-year, the 5-year, where do you want to be in 10 years kind of plan. So every few months, while playing shows and slowly writing more songs and connecting with more visual artists and performers and musicians and putting together albums full of songs and music, I would pull out a notebook and I would write new plans. I have a fairly deep pile of these plans somewhere. All around me, my friends and colleagues in music and arts appeared to be following their plans, starting projects and completing them, and then starting the next one, making more plans, having an endpoint to their projects, imagining what they would look like, and then deliberately moving towards goals. I have talked with them about the process and they say, oh, it's easy. I look at the end goal and then I break it down into steps. And the first reaction of my brain to that is, that still sounds too mysterious and I cannot suss it out. I must read 4 books on this and study before getting started. The most ridiculous thing about all of this is, obviously I have ambitions. And although I'm not able to duplicate the process perfectly each time, there's evidence that I have goals and that I've done stuff. I see some of the evidence still stacked up in my closet as boxes of unsold CDs. There are posters from shows I've played. There are videos online of performances I've curated, sometimes on a large scale involving lots of other people. I haven't worked a full-time office job since 2004 and have managed to survive financially. And the biggest piece of evidence is my diary. In it is a record of things I've seen in this country and others. Things I've seen in my dreams and in my waking life, conversations I've had with friends and people I've loved and who have loved me, dates and times of shows I've played and how I thought they went and what could be improved, miles I've driven over the years, sometimes going over the speed limit to make it to a gig far away. Travels recorded by date and location, and if I was sleeping that night in a safe motel or in a friend's home. Stories about what it felt like for me to be tumbled inside of a crashing car twice, and stories about what it felt like to fly on a hang glider or to swim across Lake Superior. Ticket stubs, solar eclipse glasses, feathers I've found on trails I've walked, and instances of kindnesses extended towards me, and pain I worry that I've caused others, and always a record of my thinking about how I can be better. When I read this stuff, it suddenly strikes me that I did it. I did end up becoming, by my own definition, both a race car driver and a nun.
That wasn't about ambition at all. So tell me about your nun life. Let's hear about that. No, we don't need to hear about that.
You have heard about that. I've talked about that.
I know, boy, I have heard about it. Let me tell you. Whew. It never seems to end. So, yeah, the whole idea, like, ambition without maybe recognizing that it's ambition, or it's just a kind of sense of what we do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if there's anybody who has the ambition to say, yeah, I just don't want to be around. You know?
What do you mean?
Well, like, not to experience life.
Oh.
I mean, maybe they do. Or they...
Keep talking. I just tried to adjust my chair. I went too far.
You didn't do a good job of it.
There we go.
So, well, that idea that you want to be present in your life, that you, the things that you want to experience, maybe they're not by somebody else's definition, but they're your own definition, or that you continuously experience life in one form or another, or the many facets of life, which your essay kind of talks about. Life doesn't kind of, it actually directly addresses, the different lives that you lead or whatever, but like, instead of the kind of like predetermined, hey, let's suss it out type of, I'm going to do this, this, and this, it's by various degrees of living or just experience. Yeah,
I was thinking about how my ideas about, I don't know if I articulated this well, and maybe I can do it better now, sitting here early in the morning.
It's not early in the morning.
Early to me. Early to me.
Damn, I've been up since like 5:30.
Good for you. Anyway, the idea that naming the ambition wasn't really ever going to be my process. And so that's why I find the word problematic, and also the process problematic, because, or not even problematic, I guess frustrating a little bit, because I was writing this essay and thinking about, well, do I have ambitions, or did I have ambitions, and what were they? And it has never been my process to do that, to say, I don't think consciously or intentionally, but the thing is that it has always been there. It's been much more, to use the parlance of our times, organic.
Yes.
Like there's been
Single source.
Yeah, there's been this organic sense of like, of course I want to have an interesting life. Like that really truly is my ambition in life, is to just have an interesting life. But there is so much, I mean, I'm realizing this daily, and it gets even more easier to recognize that this is what I'm realizing the older I get, that our culture is structured to keep us away from just being present in the moment. And that's really what my life's goal is. My life's goal is to be present in the moment, and to be enjoying this interesting life that I was fortunate enough to be born to, like, my parents at that time, to have all the experiences that I've had, that I've recorded in my diary, that I've, pushed myself to have. So I have realized those ambitions, and yet I'm perplexed by the fact that there's this overarching message that I should have specific goals and be walking towards them.
Or you should have specific experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, the commonality of experiences.
Like love. Like, this is the way that you should be experiencing love.
Oh, yeah. I saw that episode of The Bachelor. I mean, that's, I guess, like, in a lot of ways, society, or at least media, some corporation somewhere that, they're making money, wants you to see a representation of what real romance, I'm putting that in air quotes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
that what real romance looks like. Oh, it looks like this. And you know what? If you don't have that, you should just go ahead and kill yourself. Before you do that, though, sign over all your stuff to us.
Yeah, buy this stuff.
But you should die. Because...
Or life isn't worth living without it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're missing out on something.
Which is pure... I mean, it's grade A, organic, single-source, shade-grown bullshit. It's like, wow, okay. Well, let me work on my abs and develop my portfolio so I have millions of dollars, and then I'll throw roses at people until, one of them sticks. But that only sticks because they've been, the thorns got stuck in them. It just,
I know.
Ugh.
And yeah.
But riddle me this, Ellen Cherry.
Okay.
What does this have to do with fame? Because I believe the podcast is Why Aren't You Famous? So can you tie this back to fame?
Yes.
Okay.
My ambition is to turn this podcast
This is cheap.
into something that doesn't have to do with something as gross as fame.
Okay. You keep talking. I'm going to go hit the start button on the coffee.
Why do I have to do that? Why don't we just pause?
No, because you're on a roll. Keep going. You want to make this podcast famous.
No, it's not that I don't want to make the podcast famous. It's that I find trying to write these essays in that kind of, I don't know, I'm I'm feeling the pressure now, having to talk through while you're making coffee. Yes, but you're not talking to me, you're not facing me, we're not having a conversation, you're doing something.
Where am I?
Where are
you?
Sit down.
Just because take off my headphones, it's like I don't exist anymore. Hold on a second.
Oh, wait, there you are.
I'm going to pop into existence. Here I go.
What does it have to do with fame? I didn't really think about that. Maybe your essay can address it.
No. Well, okay.
My essay, I focused on I just focused on the topic, and I didn't actually topic in relation to the overarching topic.
But that's part of the conversation. Okay, well, let's listen to my essay then.
Yeah. I still thought it was a good essay.
I'm not saying it was a bad essay.
Yeah.
Jeez,
and I actually, when I started it, I didn't like it very much because it was different, and I didn't think it was going well.
No, it was going great.
But then I rewrote it, and I felt like it was very sweet, and it was a very much of a self-care essay.
Self-care. It's good. I like the essay. I thought it was good.
Thanks.
Thanks. But we're not here to just heap praise upon each other.
Are you sure?
I mean, we do that a lot. If you listen back to our podcast, which by the way, at some point I'll have to put the music in, and see if the dating game music that I keep
and see when I notice it.
I used to play that in my high school classes when I was asking questions and kids were taking a long time to think. I had it queued up on my iPod into my speakers.
Yeah, because that always helps.
And I just started hitting that, and I'd be like, "We're waiting." A little, pressure is not a bad thing.
So dear listeners, this is how this has been loosely structured in our working relationship. Is that we record in Grimm Studio, and then he edits. He does post-production. We both record our essays, then we bring them together. We have the conversation. He does the post-production, and I manage the uploading and website and promotional part of it. Mm-hmm. So he's been adding stuff that I didn't realize was in there because I haven't been going back and listening to these long conversations.
Yeah, I don't blame you because I don't listen to them. I don't listen to the whole things, but I go through and I check the peaks and I make sure that everything kind of gels together, and then I work on transitions between things.
Why should we listen to it twice?
There's a little bit of automation going on.
Yeah.
So anyhow, all right, let's throw in.
Maybe your essay has more to do with fame.
A little bit.
Okay.
But whatever. We'll talk about it in a second.
I don't feel bad. I don't feel like you're attacking me or anything. I'm fine.
Well, good, because I'm not attacking you.
Okay.
Now.
Out of love.
Somewhere impossibly deep, directly centered inside the core of each nucleus, which when aggregated forms the very fiber of our DNA, sits the perpetually burning biological drive to procreate. All living creatures on the earth possess nature's purest ambition: survival. From the short term of self-preservation compelling us to find food, water, and shelter, to the long game of prolonging a legacy by passing along some kind of genetic copy, we've all felt the urge. Some indulge, while others demur. The drive for survival is counterintuitive when juxtaposed with fame. Beyond the money, fame damages reality, children, and parents. Famous parents' mistakes and misfires are not unlike the missteps of average, everyday parents. Only those lapses in parenting are magnified, amplified in the context of media exposure. No privacy means no mercy from the court of public opinion, where everyone is judge and jurist. With biological ambition, we can't help it. And we can't fault ourselves for our innate compulsions. As the scorpion told the frog, it's in my nature. But the ambition to ascend to a pedestal, to be known and above your fellow human, is hollow, soulless. Even the driven, tragic Scottish villain Macbeth knew that when he mused, I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. Ambition goes both ways, up and down. The unnatural drive to become the object of adoration twists and distorts reality until we cannot tell the difference between up, down, day, night, want, or need. There have been many high-profile couples that have split up, and in the divorce proceedings, an argument for alimony is made on the premise that one of the spouses needs a large settlement because he or she has become used to a certain lifestyle. That ain't survival. That's leisure or spite. And there is no doubt that fame makes reality a murky soup. So it is no surprise that famous folks have a hard time finding their footing when they can't find the ground. How can someone save his soul when he's given it away for the blinking moment of recognition? Fame is not what nature intended. What nature intends reaches deep into the marrow of our bones, seeds that wait in darkness for a slight momentary sliver of light to satisfy its ambition to survive.
My first observation is that we are both sonically feeling the same vibe.
Yes.
That's so funny. Mm-hmm. Ooh, coffee's done.
Coffee is done.
So yours, I liked it, first of all.
Okay.
I'm heaping praise on you. Excellent job, Andrew Grimm. Yes, yours definitely focused more on famous people and their struggle with groundlessness.
Yeah.
And being divorced from reality.
And that's, an ambition for that idea is like, I don't want to say it's not the ambition to be the best or to be whatever. I mean, 'cause those are really great motivating things. But when that becomes all you do, that's all you end up with, is your drive to be great. And
which isn't very comforting.
No, it's not. I don't think you can't hold that.
Or talk to it, or
you can buy someone to look like a representative of it, I suppose. But
yeah.
It just seems kind of vacant to me.
I like that you actually thought about circling back to our original question. Why aren't you famous?
Yeah.
And so positing the question of, well, you're not famous because you don't have that perverted, extended, getting really sexual all of a sudden, sorry.
Oh. It's getting warmer in here.
Ambition. You don't have that naked ambition to do something that is beyond just survival and enjoyment of the pleasures of life here and right. Comfort and sharing it with other people. It's that you want, something that is groundless, temporary, based on other people's opinions and.
Well, and I think that's a huge issue. You know, if you base it on all of this stuff is garnered on somebody else's opinion. Like I've been listening to the Corridor Cast podcast that Kelsey Lewis from Santa Labrada has been doing. It's a really cool podcast. It's definitely worth listening to. Major plug for that. Not just because I'm going to be on it next week, but where are you going?
I'm getting some coffee.
What?
Keep talking.
What happened to Ellen Cherry?
I can hear you. Should I bring it over?
Yeah. Okay. But listening to some of the interviews, I'm gonna be diplomatic in how I say things.
Okay.
Her interviews are great, and it has nothing to do with that. But there's one voice within the interviews on several of a couple of the podcasts where, you know, somebody who's in the band is also in a position of reviewing bands for a now defunct independent paper.
Oh.
And
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of like, huh.
So we have to hear the same voice again. There's not necessarily a chance for somebody new. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. I think what I'm trying to say is like I've actually lost my thread of thought, but it's gonna come back to me.
Okay.
But no, I think it was like that idea of like other people's opinions.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we base on what there's this idea that, well, because so and so didn't like it, it's bad. Because so and so did like it, it's good.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, other people's introduction into whether or not, you know, something is worth their time.
Yeah, so that's like an internet problem too that you and I
Sure.
both have lived with in our careers for our entire careers, and almost now that the gatekeepers are everybody.
Yeah.
And so in a wonderful way, that means that people who are really super into music and listen to a ton have a chance to really give great opinions and great reviews of
Right.
music they may not have heard. But then everybody has this opinion. I mean, you and I have talked about this a lot before, that like the great democratizer of the internet is also like in a way that means that there's not really expertise.
Right. Well, the death of expertise.
Yeah, and judgment, and the idea that like, no, this is worthy of praise, and because it is above and beyond the talent of this writing or the talent of this painting or the talent of this performance is
Right.
above and beyond, and it's not just like funny or silly, and which those are fine things too. I mean, you can even have excellence in those things.
Sure.
But yeah, like having the same voice over and over again, there was a hope, I think, with that. That's a hard balance because like in terms of critique, and if we use critique as our gatekeepers for art, you want somebody who has a lot of experience judging it, but you also don't want them to be the only one judging it. You do
Right.
want other voices to, I don't know.
Well, and
We're hosed.
Right. Well, how that informs ambition. Like my ambition is not to be the best songwriter in Baltimore.
Yeah.
My ambition is to write really good songs.
Yeah.
My ambition to play guitar is not to be the best guitar player in the world.
Yeah.
It's to learn how to play the guitar in a way that A, I like, B, that I find to be inventive, but also in a certain way pays homage to who I've learned from.
Right.
You know, you take the best parts of those things and you put them together, and those are my ambitions. And I think you know that word ambition gets bastardized by or twisted by this sense of fame. Like you take those stupid shows, The Voice, American Idol, and now The Four or whatever the fuck it is.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh my god, it's Sean Puffy Combs. Well, no, P Diddy. No, wait a minute. Puff Diddy, P Face. I don't know what the fuck his name is anymore. Oh, Love, Brother Love. That's what he came up with. He just. Sorry about that.
He's the best one that you came up with in that string of things. Oh, God.
I just hope he doesn't listen to this podcast.
He's never going to listen to this because the internet is dead today,
Right,
December
right,
15th,
Right. How's it ever going to get to him?
and it's never going to get to him.
Yeah.
But I just want you to know the extreme feeling of just like release and joy that I just felt about thinking just about somebody calling themselves P-Face, and then also like everything that instantly floods into your mind when you think of the words P and face together.
Yeah, well.
Oh God.
I'm glad we had that moment. I'm glad you had a moment of lightheartedness.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
It was well, it's that idea of like these television shows.
The four. I don't know what
Four.
that is. Yeah.
Well, thank God Luke Bryan's going to be on it. Or no, he's on the new American Idol. So
I don't know who Luke Bryan is.
oh, he's that idiot country guy who sings a bunch about crap.
Oh, he's probably the guy that was on that billboard that I could see outside of my apartment for like 6 months, staring into my kitchen late at night.
Yeah.
Him and
because he's like he says rain what is it? Rain is a good thing is the name of the song. It's like corn makes whiskey makes my girl get a little frisky. Me and the boys get in our trucks, we round our honeys up, and something. That's like that was a big hit.
And then
like
we put Rohypnol in their beer, and like everything is cool.
You don't have to because it's the whiskey. You get them drunk, it's fine.
It's advocating for getting your girls drunk because that's the only way to arouse them.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's kind of a good-looking guy apparently. I don't think there's a hair on his body.
Gross.
He's
like a Ken doll.
Sheen.
He's like a country Ken doll.
Right.
Like you pull down his pants and you're like, oh man, it's just like plastic underwear. Ladies, you know what I'm talking. Ladies from the '80s, you know what I'm talking about. Didn't we talk about Barbies last time?
We did. We know 2 times ago, but you were always talking about them. So. But that idea of like ambition is now like, oh well, here's your shot, here's your moment, and it's been overly romanticized.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can't overly romanticize something. It's just romanticized. So it's just this romanticized
for the purpose of capitalism and selling. Yeah.
Right. And to convince people that this is your moment. I remember.
Ooh, I have a story about that.
I remember at Century High School we had Century Idol, and I was a judge. I was a guest judge. This is before I taught there, I think. And like the prize was like it was $100 and then a 5-hour studio time or whatever.
Yeah.
So
what can you do in 5 hours if you don't have a band? And
never tell a high school student that.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to. It's like good luck. You get some experience.
Yeah.
That you don't have to pay for.
And you get to be in the studio too.
Yeah. I mean, if you're with it, you can figure stuff out. So, this girl didn't win. I don't know what it was, but they were so angry. Like the mother said, "You know what? This was her shot."
That was it.
And I was like, "Wow, yeah, it's over." I guess
she should look into dentistry.
Dentistry or prostitution.
Oh my God.
Because I mean, like you're
Those
right.
are the 2 avenues open to her at this point. Because she's definitely not going to be a singer.
You gotta be kidding me!
There's no other careers in singing besides being famous.
You mean this high school talent show at the ripe age of 16 was it? That's it. Oh man, that's pretty rough. But that's the narrative that has been built and has been advertised, and not just advertised, but like kind of incorporated into everybody's story at this point. Well, not everybody's, but a lot of people's story is revolved around watching this show and thinking like, oh, this is what we should aspire to. Like when you talk about aspirations and ambitions being aspirations, right?
Yeah.
Going back to our earlier conversation, and I agree with that. Ambitions and aspirations are very, very similar. But Aspire has this kind of spirit dreamlike quality to it that Ambition doesn't have. But they're kind of like put together with these shows, and it's just like, oh God, it's just junk. To quote the late great Tom Petty, now they have a game show for becoming a rock and roll star.
Yeah.
And he said it with I guess, disgust would be the word I could use.
It's kind of like when you were just talking about the difference between aspiring and ambition, and that how I was thinking of this like visual image. This is going to make me, I don't care how it makes me sound, but just this idea that we have of like a beautiful bird flying, which is the aspiring part of it. But it's actually like it has these terrible hooks in it that are holding it to the ground because it's trying to pull the earth along, and that's ambition. Like you're like this, like it's been trapped by this idea. Like we have this fantasy or this, as you said, romanticization about like what it means to like achieve fame and achieve your goals and your dreams is like you're flying. But the thing is that ambition, like the idea that it has to be this focused goal for the purpose of serving something other than the sheer joy of playing music.
Right.
And how, like when you were talking about being a better guitar player or being the kind of guitar player that you want to be, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was playing guitar for a couple hours and I was just like, I could be a really good guitarist if I practiced more. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, I want to give myself credit for being a fairly proficient, rhythm guitarist, but there's things that I'm learning. But even just sitting there, it gave me such a feeling of joy and hope that I have the focus and have obviously had the focus to become a capable guitar player, and that there's still room to grow. And that is like, was that an ambition of mine or a goal? It just sort of happened. I just sort of fell in love with like my longest relationship with my guitar,
Sad as it is.
No, it's not sad though, because
well, it's fulfilling. And I tell you what, when you want to touch the guitar, you can touch the guitar.
Right.
When you want to put it away, you can put it away.
Right.
If you don't like what it sounds like, you can retune it.
Right. Exactly.
And you can learn the language so it responds exactly how you want it to respond.
It's versatile. It surprises you.
It sounds like I'm having sex with my guitar.
It surprises you.
It's sexy though. It's a lot of curves. A lot of curves.
They're beautiful. They sound wonderful. They make you sing. Yeah. Okay, so
you can caress the strings.
I want to tell you this story. Oh wait, you're gonna say something. Sorry.
I wanted to get back to aspiration and ambition because I agree with what you're saying about the ambition thing. But if you also, or in the same sense too, you think about aspiration is a personal goal for something larger than where you are, somewhere farther and further down the line than where you are. Ambition indicates that there's competition, that there's somebody else that you have to beat them,
get what they have
in order to get what they have and to move beyond them. Or you're in a race, and if you're being ambitious, like when I think about people who are ambitious in the business world, that's because they got there's sharks in the water.
Yeah.
And you have to somehow become, the alpha shark.
You must crush them in your jaws.
You leave them dead in ruins in the wake of your, success. And so,
which is so weird that happened to somebody like our president. Like, how did that guy do that? He just does it so effectively.
I don't know.
That's what's amazing to me. I'm just like, we have stepped through the portal into Bizarro world.
Yeah, that guy's a dick.
He's a dick. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you, but when you were talking about that, I was just like, that's exactly.
But that's how exactly
but how
he
did that
became
person
president.
do that when it wasn't Patrick Bateman from American Psycho? Like, that's the guy that you would think would be doing all of that stuff. Is like this sort of sleek, hairless, sociopathic Ken doll.
But here we have an old white fat man. Fat white man.
Slobby bleh.
Yeah.
Like who managed to do that.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Well, I guess looks aren't everything. You know what? That gives me hope. Gives me hope.
Oh, stop.
Self-deprecation is a wonderful quality.
Is it?
Yeah.
So let me tell you the story.
Okay.
So maybe, I don't know if I even have this email anymore. Hopefully not. But I got an email from I don't know, it was pre-car wreck. So that's kind of where I think about things. It was like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And there was this show called Duets that was going to be on Fox or something like that.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember you telling me about the story. Go ahead. Tell it for the sake of the listeners.
So
it's a great story.
And it was being produced in Georgia, in Atlanta, and I had played a venue called Eddie's Attic a couple of times over the years.
Oh, yeah.
And Eddie Owens, who used to run the open mic there and had started Eddie's Attic, he's now in a different venue.
Eddie's, I think it is.
He's at like Red Clay Theater in Duluth or something.
Duluth.
Yeah, but he's still doing Eddie Owen Presents.
Nice
He's
guy.
a super wonderful guy. I love Eddie. And I loved playing there. He recommended me to this producer they were starting the show. They were looking around for talent to be in the show called Duets. So it was a singing competition where you would sing duets and then, the same thing as like The Voice and American Idol. Like TV viewers would vote and judges and all that stuff. So they said, Eddie Owen recommended you. Please send us answer these 4 questions. And the questions were like, how long have you been singing? What's your age? Where do you live? And then a short bio. And then I guess there's more than 4 questions. But then the curious part of it was that you had to submit, 2 of your greatest achievements. And so at that time I'd been like working as a musician for like 15 or 18 years or whatever it was, or I guess 15 years. And so I was just like, hey, here are my greatest achievements. I was nominated as part of a campaign. I wrote, music for a campaign that got nominated for a local Emmy award. That seemed like a big deal to me. I think I also referenced like some other grant or something that I had won from the Maryland State Arts Council. I don't know. Or like, and then I like sent my CV. That's what they requested. It was like, and so my CV has a lot of like all the discs that I've released over the years and like people that I've opened for, and which to me is like like I said, I wanted to lead an interesting life. I got to open for Boyz II Men. I opened for Mary Fall. I opened for Glenn Tilbrook twice. That was awesome. That was such a cool gig. Like all these really Donovan. I freaking opened for Donovan. Like I didn't get to mention that because it hadn't happened yet. But anyway, like these fun, interesting things that happened to me that made me feel like really like excited because they were going to see how hard I had been working without a manager, without a label, doing like having, of course, help and support from friends and loved ones, but
narrative.
Yeah, being like doing it. Right. And without
the girl who says no, who says, I'm not taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess. Yeah.
Empowered. Yeah. Well, because everyone else would tell you no.
Yeah. So I'm like sending all this stuff and I'm like,
I didn't mean to say that you're the girl who didn't say no. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. But you know what I mean? No, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like I had been working, and so I was like, here's all my work, and I get a chance to show it to like a producer of a TV show. Like how cool would that story for me as an artist to see? Here's the person who's been working for 15 years hard and then gets this break.
Right. This
shot, not at 16 at a, like a local thing where you get discovered or whatever, or even going on The Voice as like, and then they wrote back a week later and said, you're too professional. And I remember receiving that information and thinking like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was upset because I had been rejected because my story wasn't compatible with their narrative, which is that, like they're looking for somebody who's going to be plucked from obscurity. I'm obscure.
You're obscure.
I am in obscurity.
You're my friend and you're obscure.
I'm obscure.
So am I.
Yeah.
That's why we're not famous. Ladies and gentlemen. In fact, that's our next podcast is why are you obscure?
I don't know. Because I don't care about any of this other shit. So I was so hurt and offended for a long time because I was just like, I'm too professional. So basically I have to be not doing all of these things that I think are that are building blocks to like building a whole career and a catalog and a discography that I can look back and be proud of. I remember thinking like 10 years ago, like Tom Waits, oh my God, he has so many records and they're all so good. And I want to have that at the end of my life. I want to, be able to reflect upon that catalog of work and also enjoy it while it's happening, that kind of stuff. And it was a little bit crushing because I just thought, it was not even crushing. It was sort of like one of those reality checks where you're just like, they're not going to ever want me. So why? So in the years since, when people hear me sing, I'm not the best singer. I'm not the best, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and... I have a style to my voice. I've learned to appreciate it. I think I use it well. I'm not a powerhouse singer. I'm not an opera singer. But people say, oh my gosh, your voice is beautiful. Why aren't you on The Voice? You should go on The Voice. Yeah. You should go on America's Got Talent. And I'm like, I do not want to do that. I've already been rejected in a very specific way because I didn't have to go stand in a cattle call of 8,000 people, get looked at by 5 lower level 10th level producers and then get passed through an audition and have to sign away all of my, because I have friends who have done that. Yeah. And like, even if you make it to like the top 20 finalists, you sign a contract that's a touring contract and you have to have their logo on your Facebook page and all this stuff that you have to do, like all for the corporate ends. And for me, I didn't have to go through that and I still got rejected. So I know that I would get rejected. And also I'm 42. Like there's like, I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's over.
I'm doing something in music, so there's no way for them to construct this narrative around me
Right.
that they were like, I always had this dream of being a singer and a
Right.
songwriter. I'm fucking doing it, and that was not interesting to them. So yeah, apparently I'm still pissed.
Work through it.
Oh, and there was something else I was going to comment on what you
Oh.
said, which was that I've written the words relatively new problem, and I meant that because why were we? Oh, it'll come back to me. It was something about the fact that this is a 20th and 21st century problem of. Anyway, it's lost. It's gone forever.
Well, no. If it was meant to be, it'll come back.
Yes. Set them free.
Set them free. Please, please set them free. Set them free. Sting.
Oh, God. He's famous.
He is. That guy. He did all that lute music. Okay, well, our conversation seems to be winding down a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, you want to talk about our featured musical
Yes.
guest today?
Our featured musical guest is the Mole Suit Choir, which is comprised of Rupert Wandelons. I'm going to totally mess up his name. I can't believe I'm going to... Pass me the CD, because I think it's on there. Liz Downing, who is an amazing... Liz Downing, who's an amazing artist. I really hope it's on here.
It's probably too dark. You can't see it. Because it's also like black ink on gray background.
I know. It's written in really tiny...
You want to see it?
Okay.
My eyes
It's
are pretty
Rupert Wandelowski.
Oh, God. I am so blind.
I know, no, that lettering is really small. Anyway, we are going to play... I love the Mole Suit Choir, and even though I don't know how to pronounce Rupert's last name, which is a shame and an affront to my people, Liz and Rupert have created this band called the Mole Suit Choir. It's very much arts-driven. Their voices together are great, but her voice is this ethereal voice from... I don't know. It's from like what you would dream of if you were in a hotel in Alabama, in a motel in Alabama. The Heart of Dixie Motel, which is where she was raised, actually.
It doesn't say it on here.
Yes. So the track we're going to play, you can read the title.
Oh, God. It's a really long title, too.
It's a really long title. It's called The Lonesome Cowboy
On the Protein Deprivation Trail.
on the Protein Deprivation Trail.
From the poem of same title by Chris Toll.
Oh, Chris Toll wrote the poem. Yes. Chris Toll is a Baltimore poet who died a couple of years ago, and he's a great poet, and I actually have 2 of his books. And yeah, I think you're going to dig the song. It's good.
Here we go. right, the Mole Suit Choir.
Mole Suit Choir. What'd you think? Have you heard that song before?
I may have heard them do it at the Wind Up Space. I did sound for them once.
Cool.
They were Baltimore City Paper's best Americana band in 2014.
Oh, really?
Maybe 2015.
I wouldn't consider that Americana. That's so funny. I guess it is Americana.
I don't argue with the City Paper.
You can't. They're a behemoth that will crush you. Oh, wait. They're
That's
not
right.
around anymore.
War of attrition won by me.
You personally brought the City Paper down.
No, I don't wish those guys any ill will.
No,
I had no idea. They were a clandestine group of people who I had no idea how they did anything.
Yeah.
The one time,
I don't either because I bought advertising for Mob Town Moon in that paper and I feel like it was expensive because we were buying a full page ad. But like, I mean, I don't know how they survived. I don't know how. Yeah.
no, I have no idea. Like they,
as long as they did it. I think that was really hard.
I sent them a whole bunch of discs over the years or whatever, and like for review, and never got a review. Well, I mean, I got a review. Like Jeffrey Himes wrote something about Telegraph when it came out, but then like I guess it was. I want to say it was like 2006 or something like that. I was doing a solo acoustic show at Mum's for some reason. I can't remember exactly the circumstance of it. But out of nowhere, I got an email from them saying, hey, do you have a high-res picture you can send of you? Because we want to put it in the best bets. It's like I hadn't talked to the City Paper in like years.
Yeah.
Like nobody had ever and I had sent them stuff and I never heard anything back. And I was like, I mean, it's like Sugarbird, Corabelle, like all that stuff. Like never heard anything from those dudes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I sent them one. And I just figured it was going to be like one of those tiny pictures. It was like a quarter page.
Whee!
I was like, well, what? I don't get it.
It's random.
Yeah, whatever. So anyhow, Mole Suit Choir. I don't want to talk about media that no longer exists. No, it's very cool. Like, word wise, like as a poem, it has this kind of there's this weird, anti-folk kind of sense to the words. The music is very, the drony violin thing going on.
It's a bowed banjo.
Is it bowed banjo?
Yeah.
That sounds really great, and the finger picking and the voices and all that stuff works. But then when you add in those lyrics, there's that extra layer of even like the title of the song is like But grow a second heart. It's a really great line.
Yeah.
And then there's are you ready to be born
into something bigger?
Yeah, that's
beautiful,
line.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a voice crying in the wilderness.
I'm the wilderness. Right.
So we got a lot of memorable.
I am the danger.
No, I love the last line. I love that it's just like, aren't you ready to be born into something bigger? Because it's sort of comforting to think like, okay, well, maybe that's just what death is.
Oh, sure.
You're just being born into something bigger. And also, it totally relates to our topic today. Are we able to be born into something bigger that we choose?
Right.
Because, like, you and I didn't choose to be born here into the fortresses of our bodies.
Ellen Cherry.
We can choose to be born into something bigger even while we live. How do we do that?
I would agree with you, but I'm a white male.
Can you tell the coffee is starting to work?
And I chose to be born.
You were like...
God said, hey, white males. And we fist bumped. And then he said, choose your parents. And I said, oh, take those guys.
How are you feeling about your choice?
I feel pretty good.
Good. That's good.
I love my parents.
Good. No, I'm not talking about not loving your parents. Just say.
Yeah, whatever. But no, it's a very good song. It's definitely worthy of more airplay.
Yeah. So let's talk about the tour.
The tour. The tour that is shaping up.
We have still not secured Tulsa, Oklahoma on Monday of that second week, and we have not secured Birmingham, Alabama. But
Correct.
I'm willing to go now to Alabama because before Tuesday, I might not have been willing to go there because all the good people of Alabama need to be punished for all the bad people that are there.
Right. That's right. It's like, man.
And I am going to be very binary about that. Like that, I think that is a vote that you can definitely...
Yeah. Anybody who voted for Roy Moore is an idiot.
just bad person.
Yeah, it's like, well, no, it's okay.
I'm judging them.
And yeah, they get what they get.
P face, if you're listening to this.
P face. Yeah. Yep. Old P face. Yeah. So, well, we still need St. Louis / Lawrence, Kansas,
Okay.
because that's a Sunday. I mean, I guess we could take a day off too.
No days off.
Okay. All right. I guess not.
I want to play music.
Well, the only thing we can look at then is also open mics. You know, it's a Sunday night, Monday night.
Yep.
Those are technically really difficult days to get. Tuesdays, ugh. Like every time I get an email from somebody asking for a show, they're like, "Hey, you need a show?" And then it's like, "It's a Tuesday." I'm like,
Yeah.
I can make it happen, but I can't guarantee that anyone else will know that it happened.
Right.
So,
If you are in Oklahoma or
Yes.
Kansas.
yes.
And you want us to come play because we do more than just talk. We play and sing songs about
Interpretive
being
dance.
born into something bigger than yourself.
The ultimate goal.
My ambition.
My ambition is to be bigger than me.
So what is your, let's finish up by saying,
Okay. Oh, we're finishing up. Okay, yes.
yeah, I mean, it's time.
Okay. Jeez. Old bossy boots over there.
That's right. I have ambition.
That's right.
It's not bossiness. I have an ambition to finish this podcast.
Wow.
Do you have any current, like, did the essay writing make you think about what your ambitions are currently? And do you have any final thoughts on ambition? Because I thought this was a really interesting topic because the word makes me nervous.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't know if it really made me. It didn't make me think about fame a whole lot.
Yeah.
It made me. The thing I've been struggling with lately, or that I think about, is like, you know, keep your head down. Don't pay attention to other people. Keep your head down. Get your work done. Do your work. Do your work. Do your work.
Do you know what that's from? Because I just realized like that's part of the 12-step. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Oh,
Stay in
really?
your lane. It's totally part of 12-step program. It's very fascinating to hear that in other contexts. To be like, yeah, just do your work. Do your work. Do your work.
Well, and I don't want to think of it as like staying in my lane. I have a hard time with that image, but looking in the other lanes,
Yeah.
it's like, to me, it's like there's all this, and it's not media. It's me. It's my own issues with, not with other people's success, but like, oh, how do they do that, or how do they do that, or how do they do that? Like I sent the new June Star record. I sent it out to some labels or whatever, just, you know, to say I did it.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about this before. Like, I was not selling it. But I do watch on SoundCloud. I haven't paid for the pro plan yet, but I'm thinking about it because I'm going to be releasing some different stuff on SoundCloud. And I started thinking to myself, I was like, well, let me see who's been listening to the stream I sent out. And one of the labels that I sent to they've listened to it many times. Like, I think they're up to 43 plays now. So that unfortunately germinates a particular seed of like, oh,
Hope.
Oh, wow, you know. And I'm like, well, but that helps to create expectation, and expectation helps to create
Disappointment.
And you know, so I don't want to pin all my stuff on that, and that's what I've been trying to do lately. Like, I don't want to look at what other people are doing necessarily and think like, why not me? And that's really hard to do.
It is hard to do.
It's impossible.
And I find that even hard to do between us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for years.
Wow. Really? Tell more.
Because
I'm so successful.
No, you're very prolific. I don't think of you as successful.
You know what? Neither does my dad. So there you go.
I do think of you as very prolific.
I am prolific.
And it's intimidating a little bit because when I do the comparing, it's taken me a long time to realize that my process involves delay, procrastination, distraction, focus on unproductive things, and then guilt and shame, which then leads to songs. Guilt and shame about procrastinating, delaying, being distracted. And then I write songs. Whereas you, I mean, I was thinking about you when I wrote my essay. I was just like, he sets these goals and he does it and it's amazing. And I think I've achieved similar success in terms of producing things, but my process has been different, and how can I understand it? And at this point, I'm just like, okay, I'm old enough to just accept that I'm not going to be Andrew Grimm.
Wow. Well, but yeah,
I think about that a lot with you, because
Really?
I'm just like, oh yeah, totally. Like there's like looking in your lane and being like, oh man, he's really got it together. But then I look at our websites and I think, well, my website's not great right now, but it is worse.
Well, yeah, mine's terrible. My website's awful. Because, you know, instead of spending my time on my website, I'm writing songs.
Writing songs, exactly. And I'm not spending time on my website either, but
I'm constantly like, well, but that's also like, some of those things are plans and goals and ambitions, but those plans and goals, like I one of my ambitions end goal, I could say / goal, is to put out a record a year. I mean, it's like, you know, here's the work that I'm working on. And I don't back myself into corners with time restraints and stuff like that. It's like, I have the material together. Great. Here's another record. Like right now, even as we sit here, I have, you know, gone through some archives and I wrote a couple new songs. But I've found things. I'm like, okay, here's something that I wrote in 2012, and I'm gonna grab that. Nobody's ever heard it, and it's just what I know that it's there. So I'm gonna take that and start reshaping that into a song and see if I can make that work. And it has to be different than what I just did. So, you know, I have, you know, 5.
But that's like a huge difference between us, because I realized in August, I was like, oh, I have 14 songs I've never really officially recorded. They've been played and I like them and I want to record them. And then I sit there and think about like, well, how do I do that? Like, I know how I did do it, but I just don't. I don't know. It might be depression or laziness that I'm just like, I'll get to it. Because I think I have time. Which is an illusion. I don't.
Yeah, you don't have time.
I don't have time.
No, and
my life experience should show that to me, that I don't have time. But then I also think, what does it matter? Because is life going to be? I want to, like, whose life is it going to improve if these songs get recorded?
Yours.
Yeah.
I hate to drop the.
Is that a really good enough reason?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think
seriously.
so.
Seriously. Well, but also if you think about like that idea of like having those songs there, it's like,
yeah, they're
that helps you to create the plan. Like, you know, make a plan, execute it.
And also they do something that I can't do, which is they have a life of their own. Yeah. And that to me has always been fascinating when people, I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah. Well, you're releasing those songs out into the wild.
There's a song I have not recorded officially yet. Like, I recorded it for our cyber tour last year, but I wrote it when I was involved with the New Day campaign. And I saw a woman who had heard it like 2 years ago, and she quoted a line back to me that's the very last line of the song. And she said, I say this to myself every day. I'm not lost. I'm on a detour. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm on a permanent detour. That's what it is. I'm not lost. I'm on a permanent detour. And she said, it's my mantra. I say it to myself every day. And it's given me such huge comfort. And I'm like, I didn't have any control over that. I didn't do that. I didn't prescribe you to listen to the song over and over again and memorize the lines.
So back off, woman.
No,
Let me tell you something.
No, I'm just saying it was awesome. I was like,
you're going to be on a permanent vacation in a second. Take a dirt nap.
That I know that those songs have a life of their own. Like little babies, they go out into the world, and so why am I keeping them in my body?
Yeah.
In my mind, and not allowing them out. Anyway.
Right, your mind womb.
My mind womb. Why is womb such a hard word to say?
Womb.
My womb.
Womb. I don't know. Will we womb?
In my lonely womb.
Well, but that's his, was it that's church song, Hotel Womb.
I don't know that song.
I dream I'm safe in my hotel womb. So anyhow, well, Ellen Cherry.
Yes.
Where can we find you on the internets? If we actually had access, equal and fair access.
If it was neutral.
Yeah.
If the net was neutral.
If there was a neutral zone, where could Klingons find you?
Klingons could go to galacticdonk.com.
You said galactic donk.
That's Cisco's website. Galactic donk. Is
that badonkadonk? Badonkadonk?
Badonkadonk. You can find me at ELLENTHERRY.com, ellencherry.com. And also, I have a subscription service and music available for your streaming and download pleasures at ellencherry.bandcamp.com.
Yeah, here's two words you don't want to put together: streaming pleasure. Let me tell you, because P-Face was.
Oh God! I think we just do this to make each other laugh.
Of course, why not? So my stuff is at
www.com.
Is it eep op orc baby yeah, www.junestar.com, junestar.com. I also have a subscription service for $5 a month. Get everything I ever did. Well, there's a couple things that I don't even own anymore. But any new June Star records, and also I post a song a week. Last year was 52 original songs. This year is now going to be, it's 52 public domain songs that I have reinterpreted, rearranged. I don't claim that I've made them better, but they are there, and some of them are very, very different than the originals.
Cool.
But they go up once a week. That's at junestar.bandcamp.com. And feel free to frequent through that. Check out the Mole Suit Choir. You can find them at hotandwild.com. Right? I don't think is there? I can't actually. Just Google Mole Suit Choir.
I think if you just go to LizDowningArt.com.
Yeah, LizDowningArt.com.
That's her website.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, you can get there.
Yeah.
From it.
And next week we're talking about something I can't even remember what it is. It's something weird though. It's something odd.
Is it?
I think so. So until then, we'll catch you later.
Peace!
What was that?
Bye.